So, our proposal or hypothesis for our conversation today is that most nice guys pride themselves on being responsible. But here's the question: are you actually responsible for yourself or just the well-being of everyone else?
That's really good.
Right? And we talked last week about the origin story of nice guy fears, lies, beliefs that drive nice guy behavior, and how it's always found in your upbringing, in your childhood years, in your story.
Yeah.
And it's a learned experience, a learned way of existing, of behaving in order to find safety and being okay. So our core theme for today is that responsibility isn't about blame, but it's about ownership, right? It's not about blaming others for forcing you to not take responsibility for yourself, but ownership.
Yeah.
This is where you find yourself today. If you find yourself, again, we'll talk about themes related to nice guys and macho jerks, but if you find yourself in either camp, it's good to own the fact that that's me. And as we continue to give you skills and tools to be able to work back to center, so, the old idea of that virtue is always found in the middle. As you find your way back to center, it's about ownership, owning the fact that, hey, you know what? I over-leverage myself to make sure that everyone else is okay. And what we're not saying is to become a macho jerk that gets his own needs met and in the process leaves a trail of tears in everybody else's life. That we're not saying that you shift focus there, but we're going to propose a new way, a centered way of living today when it comes to real responsibility. Nick, do you want to add some flesh to this idea of responsibility? You had a really great, before we hopped on, really great connection between this sort of responsibility for others and responsibility for self and the psychological idea of codependency.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, when as you said, it's a misplaced responsibility, particularly with regards to other people in your life. And the nice guy is not okay. And I think we talked about this last week, when others are not okay. He's uncomfortable with that. Others' negative emotions cause him to very much feel those similar negative emotions himself, and he cannot be okay unless they're doing, quote, okay. And so that is misplaced responsibility. So he lives in fear. And I mean, so much of it is with regards to women, especially. Oftentimes, certainly the first relationship with any boy or any girl even is with their mom, starting in utero. And then from an early age, we talk about this in our system on the role of the mother. Even the first year of their life, their like central nervous system there is very tied still, even though they're physically disconnected to their mother. And in growing up, oftentimes there can be this enmeshment. And certainly if a mom hasn't done her own work of emotional regulation and attunement, and she gets a lot of her validation from the boy. And that might be you. That might, if you're listening to this, that might be your relationship with your mom, a little, enmeshed, or she's overprotective and she tries to get her emotional needs met. If she hasn't from somebody else, ideally her husband, she might try to do that with you. And there's this weird enmeshment, and then that can translate to other women in your life. And honestly, this goes all the way back to the beginning. In Genesis with Adam and Eve. And Adam, immediately after the fall, God comes, he's like, "Where are you?" And he goes, "Hey, what happened? Did you eat the fruit?" And he goes, "The woman that you gave me." First of all, God, it's your fault and it's her fault. He immediately abdicates responsibility. And there's a lot we could probably talk about just scripturally, and I want to make it more practical in our own lives. But there's certainly scripture's telling us a lot of stuff, even with Abram and Sarah. It says that Abram listened to the voice of Sarah rather than the voice of God. So really, I mean, if we're talking about it being a God-fearing, masculine man, he's the one who listens to the voice of his father and listens to his true voice within and not to the voice of others around them. And there's these examples in Scripture where Abram, in fear, doesn't listen to God. He listens to, the Scripture says, to the voice of Sarah. Similarly to Adam, from the beginning. And this kind of sin of Adam that is really permeates through a lot of men's hearts, certainly the passivity, is Adam listened to the voice of Eve and abdicates his responsibility.